When they first found the hammer, the handle was petrified, what was left of it. It was in solid rock, and the rock was supposed to be 400 million years old.
Tribes brought him artifacts from hidden jungle caves, symbols from Sumeria, Babylon, even Atlantis.
The Fuente Magna bowl, unearthed by a farmer near Lake Titicaca, Bolivia in the 1950s, features inscriptions remarkably similar to ancient Mesopotamian cuneiform.
Well, hello and welcome back. Thanks for joining me. And OOPARTS, out of place artifacts. Thought we'd have a wander down that road.
What are the Quimbaya artifacts? Among the vast collection of pre-Columbian items on display in Bogotá's Museo de Oro are between 15 and 20 Quimbaya artifacts, all about 2-3 inches in length, that bear an unmistakable resemblance to modern aircraft. They are not airplanes, archaeologists insist. We are told these delicate little gold items are meant to represent birds and flying insects, but take a good look at them. Dr. Ivan Sanderson, a noted British-born biologist, examined this Quimbaya artifact and concluded it looked too mechanical to be a representation of a natural creature. J.A. Ulrich, a German aviation expert, found that the artifact closely resembled a Swedish SAB jet. In 1994, 3 German researchers created radio-controlled scale models of 2 Quimbaya airplanes, equipped them with engines and landing gear, and found that they flew perfectly. This experiment has been repeated by several others, and it certainly does fly. One theory is that the Quimbaya, who were an indigenous people that inhabited the Colombian Andes from around 1000 BC to 1200 AD, had seen something like this in the sky, since there is no evidence that they had any complex machinery. Then they crafted these little tributes. A similar theory revolves around the Nazca lines, that the people on the ground were offering a tribute to what they had seen above. So what do you think? Planes or insects?
Well, I think planes, the wings, right? They're plane wings. They're not insect or bird wings. And, you know, were these made by people who saw them in the sky? They look a bit precise, don't they, for someone who just saw something in the sky, especially since they fly, right? So it's an interesting one. You know, OOPARTS, right? Out of place artifacts. So, I mean, to me, it looks like some kind of relic from a previous age where they had this high technology. And, you know, it's like those little planes that you get at the airport, right? When you buy the little model planes. Could be the same thing.
This artifact is one of the biggest mysteries of recent decades. It's a small black stone pyramid, just 25 centimeters high, and was discovered in Ecuador by a man named Father Cresby. Unlike anything found in known pre-Columbian cultures, this artifact features an engraving of the Orion constellation and an inscription in pre-Sanskrit script that says, "The son of the creator comes from here." Under UV light, the pyramid glows, revealing a strange eye symbol at the top, more reptilian than human. This artifact was found along with other enigmatic objects, like the stone map, a large slab covered in intricate carvings, believed by some to depict an ancient underground network of tunnels stretching beneath the Ecuadorian jungle, metallic engraved plates, mechanical-looking artifacts, and golden figurines and masks. And look, there's those handbags and pine cones again. It is believed to have originated from the Taos cave system, a site long rumored to house an ancient underground library of metal books and lost knowledge. But more about that in the next video. The presence of pre-Sanskrit writing, a cosmic reference to Orion, and a glowing reptilian eye has led researchers to suggest that it may be evidence of an unknown civilization, one with knowledge of astronomy and advanced materials, beyond what should have existed at the time. Shortly after Cresby's death, the majority of his collection disappeared. What remains are fragmented records, photographs, and speculation. To this day, the Black Pyramid artifact is a mystery.
Yeah, that's an interesting pyramid, that one. I first saw that presented by Klaus Donner back in the day, and he has lots of cool stuff. But the Father Cresby collection is an interesting one. He, you know, found a lot of artifacts. Well, he said that he was gifted them basically by natives. He was in South America, and he ends up with like giant crowns and guitars and heaps of gold stuff. And yeah, no one really knows quite where it came from. So it's all pointing, right, to previous advanced civilizations.
Biggest mysteries in history begins with a priest in Ecuador, Cresby, monk, anthropologist, and friend of the tribes of Ecuador. To thank him, tribes brought him artifacts from hidden jungle caves, symbols from Sumeria, Babylon, even Atlantis. Collection filled Ecuador's largest museum by 1960. Then disaster. A fire destroyed almost everything. Surviving treasures were taken to the Vatican. The cave system, 200 kilometers of tunnels, has never been found. If authentic, Cresby's artifacts could rewrite human history. Story of the world's greatest unsolved mystery? Read more now, only on Ancient Origins.
Yeah, Crespi, and of course, yeah, they destroyed everything, right, and stole what was left. Well, that's the story. They probably stole everything and then burnt down the museum, right? Which they do all the time. They're desperate to hide our true history, which is a very big indicator that we've been invaded, right? And our past has been covered up. It's just his story.
It's Sunday. I have a new rabbit hole for you. In this castle in France, some researchers dug some holes. In the holes, they found some strange parts and a whole armored knight. But when they put the parts together, it formed a bike. Why is this weird? Well, take your phone out and Google when was the bicycle invented, and it will pull up some date in the 1800s from early to late, even on the Wikipedian. What's weird is we have these amazing bikes from the Renaissance paintings, and they were real. Welcome to the world of out-of-place artifacts, or OOPARTS. It gets way weirder. That is the Antikythera mechanism. It's the very first computer built in the 2nd century BC. It was found in a shipwreck. That top video is an X-ray of it. And then we have the London hammer. The hammer was found inside Cretaceous rock. Here's my favorite one. This one is, I don't even know what they call it. It's a wheel. The mine's in Ukraine. It's 300 million years old. And the mine is next to...
It does not take thousands or millions of years for fossilization or petrification to occur. This is why there are so many mud fossil examples all around us. Check out this video by Kent Hovind. You can find the full video on YouTube as well. Great examples.
Here's petrified firewood. The guy chopped on it before it turned to stone. Here's mummified dog stuck in a tree. Turned to stone. It chased a coon up the tree apparently and got stuck. They named it Stucky. What would you call it, okay? Here's petrified cowboy boot with the cowboy's legs still in it. The boot was made 1950 and the leg is turned to stone. Here's petrified fish giving birth. It does not take millions of years to give birth. Praise God, okay? Here's a petrified hat. Petrified pickle, found in a jar. The guy sent me the jar and pickle. He said, Brother Hovind, I found this in Montana in an old home. The house was junk, the roof was gone, the house was falling apart. But he said, you want a petrified pickle for your museum? I said, of course. Who in their right mind would not want a petrified pickle, Come on down to Pensacola, Dinosaur Adventureland, and see the petrified pickle. Here's petrified sacks of flour found in a flour mill that flooded in 1910 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Here's petrified toadstool. There's an amazing gem and mineral museum just south of Bloomington, Illinois, in a little bitty tiny town called Shirley, Illinois. You got to be trying to find it to get there, but it's worth going to see the Funk Gem and Mineral Museum. Okay, here's petrified acorns. This kid sent them to me. He said, Brother Hovind, I was 7 years old at the time. He said, I stuck these acorns in a bucket of water, and I thought they might, sprout and make some trees, and I forgot about them. Next spring, my mama found the bucket on the back porch, and the acorns had turned to stone. He said, would you like them for your museum? I said, of course. Come on down and see the petrified acorns. More on petrification on video number 6. So kids, when they tell you the layers are different ages, you tell them Kent Hovind said they're confused or they're lying. It is not correct. Those layers all formed, nearly all of them, at the time of Noah's flood. 80 to 85% of Earth's surface does not even have 3 geologic periods appearing in correct consecutive order.
Yes, petrification, right? It's not what they tell us. There's so many examples of, like we just heard, things that are petrified, but they're only 100 or 200 years old. And there's a cave called Mother Shipton's Cave in the UK, and people literally hang teddy bears and soft toys on this cave where the water runs over them, and they turn to stone within months. And so, what petrification is minerals seeping into objects and turning them to stone from the inside out. It's all to do with the mineral content of the water. And of course, that guy mentioned the flood and maybe the mud flood. And, I guess that's what happens, right? If you're trapped in mud or in the right water, you petrify. And so does this explain all the tree stumps and the petrified forests that we have? And we also have like the titans, right? All these human shapes, animal shapes but the size of mountains, right? Is that how they turned to stone? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
This has to be one of the most magical places to visit in Yorkshire. Do you know why this well is so magical? We're in the beautiful Yorkshire town of Knaresborough to visit Mother Shipton's Cave. Not only is this one of the oldest tourist attractions in England, but it's also the birthplace of a famous prophetess, Mother Shipton, who was born in this cave during a violent thunderstorm in 1488. Throughout her life, she spent a lot of her days in the forests around the cave, studying herbs and making remedies with them. She was also known for predicting the future and even predicted the day of her death. Next to the cave is a unique geological feature, the petrifying well. It's a huge mineral deposit, and the dripping well turns objects slowly into stone, almost like magic. A teddy takes around 3 months to turn to stone. Two Knaresborough locals thought if they came too near to the well, they would turn into stone too. When you visit, you can do what others have done for centuries before and make a wish in the wishing well. There's also a small museum which contains Agatha Christie's handbag, which got turned into stone, and you can even buy wishing well water as well as other witchy items. And you can get your fortune told too. Have you visited Mother Shipton's Cave?
Yes, Mother Shipton's Cave. And yeah, she's a bit of a figure. She prophesies and all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is that all the stuff, right, that turns to stone. There's even a bicycle there that someone's hung up. So, they're turning all types of materials from teddy bears to metal bicycles and handbags, right? Agatha Christie's handbag into stone. And, they say that it's a magical, sort of one-off place, but this happens a lot, this petrification process through mineralized water.
It was found in 1934 in Texas, New London, Texas. When they first found the hammer, the handle was petrified, what was left of it. It was in solid rock, and the rock was supposed to be 400 million years old. Battelle Laboratory analyzed it and said it's 96% iron, 2.6% chlorine, and 0.75% sulfur. And then they said, we don't think you can get those elements to combine unless you do it under a much stronger magnetic field. This is a little zinc and silver vessel, was found inside rock, supposed to be 600 million years old. This bell was found inside a lump of coal in West Virginia. This metallic sphere was found in South Africa. It has 3 parallel grooves around the equator, but it was found in what they said was pre-Cambrian material, 2.8 billion years old. Here's a mortar and pestle. The problem is, it's in rock supposed to be 33 to 55 million years old, way before man got here. Maybe our whole time scale's wrong. They will never consider that.
It's just his story, isn't it? And this is why I don't believe geology, right, anymore, because there's too many artifacts out there that have been found that prove that it can't be right. Right? It's just this big story, and this is what they love to do with the past, right? They stretch it out back into millions and hundreds of millions of years so that they can piece together their little stories they want us to believe, right? Like evolution and all this kind of stupidity. They've got no evidence for this stuff. And the only way they can get us to believe us is to sit us in schools for 12 years and hammer it into our brains.
Perfect stone spheres carved by who and why. Scattered across jungles and hillsides, these massive stone spheres are flawlessly round, some over 15 tons. No tool marks, no inscriptions, and they predate known civilizations in the area.
Yeah, there's lots of these stone spheres, right? They're all over the realm. When I was in Bosnia in 23, we went and saw some. There was a whole heap of them in the side of this hill. And a big storm came and washed the hill away, and all these massive stones rolled out, like these perfect spheres. We went and saw one that was, I think it was like 3 meters across or something. It was huge and perfectly round. And when they fell out, some of the locals, there was a legend that said there was treasure inside of them. And so they went and smashed some of them open. And of course, there was no treasure. But I've actually got a bit that I wear. So that's actually a piece of stone that came from one of these massive orbs that had been smashed. And it's got magnetic properties and all the, it's a little bit weird. So, yeah, who do you think made all this stuff? Like, where did it come from? What was its purpose? Let me know.
Have you heard of the Klerksdorp spheres? These ancient balls sparked theories about alien technology. Miners found them in South Africa's pyrophyllite deposits. They range from half a centimeter up to about 10. When cut open, they show a radial structure. Analyses reveal hematite or wollastonite mixed with goethite. Fringe writers call them out-of-place artifacts, evidence of lost tech or extraterrestrials. But geologists note unoxidized examples are just pyrite. These spheres formed as concretions, minerals precipitating around a core in volcanic mud 3 billion years ago. Metamorphism turned carbonate concretions into wollastonite and weathering oxidized pyrite to hematite, leaving grooves that mark growth layers. You can find similar iron oxide concretions, like Moki marbles in the American Southwest. Even Mars has blueberry-like spheres. So they're not machine parts. They can crack like any rock and aren't perfectly round or metal hard. Nature produces wonders that look like artifacts. Learn the science behind the mystery and question the hype.
Well, she lost me at Mars. But this is what the mainstream do, right? They put out all their experts, all their geologists who, have all this wisdom to impart to us, and they try and explain everything away, everything as natural, because they cannot they cannot let on that there was a civilization worldwide that was much more advanced than ours, and that people had it much better, and it was a civilization made for the people, to help the people, to give them better lives rather than to control and suppress them. They can't let that out. That's why they've rewritten history and they have all this dumb geology stuff. And this is another reason why they have to have their hundreds of millions of years, right? To try and make up these theories of how these things could have formed naturally. And of course, then they chuck in all the big words, right? All the mineral, and that's just to make us think that they are experts and that we can't quite understand it, right? And so we should trust them. But none of it's true.
Discovered in 1961 in the deserts of Peru, workers discovered this intricately carved stone depicting an encounter between humans and dinosaurs. But this was just one of over 50,000 similar stones found in the region. These are known as the Ica stones, and hundreds of them are similarly carved with images of different species of dinosaurs. All dinosaurs died 60 million years ago, and no human would ever have seen one. But these stones date back over 2,000 years and have detailed carvings of known species. From Triceratops, Brachiosaurus, and T-Rex, the stones show humans interacting with the dinosaurs. The sheer number of stones is also baffling. It would have taken dozens of people, tens of years, to produce such a large number of carvings. And what was their purpose?
Yeah, the Ica stones or Ica stones, they're an interesting one, right? Dinosaurs. And, I think most of us understand that the dinosaur narrative is fake. It's just made up like all of their other theories. Um, but yeah, all these depictions of humans with dinosaurs, what do you think that is? Are these fake? Because it's a lot of work, is my opinion on that one. Like, why? Well, they weren't sold or anything. So if that's true, then what are dinosaurs? Were they just larger animals, like larger reptiles? We have the woolly mammoths. They tell us all the mammals were bigger, of course, millions and millions of years ago. But what if that was only hundreds or thousands of years ago and we had giant reptiles as well? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts and let me know, are dinosaurs real or fake? And thanks for joining me. Hope you're enjoying this little romp through the OOPARTS of our world. If you do like this content, please do subscribe, give me a like, and leave me your comments. And also, don't forget, if you do like this kind of content, the Tartaria Australia newspaper is here. That's our first edition. If you're interested in that, it's all interesting stories, the kind of stuff that we go through on this channel. I'll leave the link below. Go check it out.
The first clues we will look at are several artifacts discovered in ancient rock layers, including coal beds. In 1944, 10-year-old Newton Anderson dropped a lump of coal and broke it in half. Out of the lump came a metal bell. The coal itself came from a mine in West Virginia and was supposedly millions of years old, a time long before humans supposedly existed. But out of it came an obviously man-made artifact. The world's coal beds were formed not over millions and millions of years, but in a short time as megatons of floodwaters buried layers of vegetation. Somehow, this bell was buried with the vegetation and the coal formed right around it. This bell is not the first such artifact found in a coal bed. In Vladivostok, Russia, a resident found something shiny in a lump of coal. He carved away the coal to reveal a small metal bar with tiny teeth, like the teeth of a gear. The object was made of aluminum, with a small percentage of magnesium. Other objects have been found embedded in ancient coal beds, including human bones, a human tooth, a foot, a gold chain, a small steel cube, and a small cast-iron pot. Also found was a human leg, which had been transformed into coal. A coal miner in 1928 found a wall of concrete blocks in a coal bed. The blocks were about a foot across and were highly polished on the faces. The rest of the wall disappeared into the coal seam. A miner working 100 yards away encountered what was thought to be the same wall. Other items have been discovered in rock. In 1871, a crew in Illinois drilling a well through rock found a small medallion about the size of a quarter at a depth of over 100 feet. The medallion was of an unknown copper alloy and had inscriptions of unknown hieroglyphs on front and back. In Massachusetts, a metal vase was found when men were dynamiting 15 feet into solid rock. At another location, an iron hammer with a wooden handle was found embedded in limestone. How did these items get buried in ancient rock layers? What civilization produced them? Were they from pre-flood civilizations and were buried during the flood, then compressed into coal and rock by the weight of the floodwaters?
Yes, the flood. The flood. And obviously some of these videos are by Christian researchers, and they're researching it to prove, their story of Noah's flood. And thank you, researchers. They've found some great stuff, right? And I guess the question is Noah's flood, the Great Flood, and it's documented all around the world. Is that the same as the mud floods? Or do you think they're different events? Because, clearly what we know is what they're telling us about our past is completely wrong. We've got so much evidence, if even just one of these OOPARTS is real, and I think most of them are, then that proves the whole story wrong. The whole story of evolution, geology, this hundreds and hundreds of millions and billions of years of the Earth forming, proves it all wrong. Like just one of them. And we've got many, many, and that's what they just love to call things anomalies, like that somehow just takes it out of the equation, but it doesn't.
We have two ancient artifacts that should not exist. 1. The Fuente Magna Bowl and the Meister print pose significant challenges to established historical timelines. The Fuente Magna Bowl, unearthed by a farmer near Lake Titicaca, Bolivia in the 1950s, features inscriptions remarkably similar to ancient Mesopotamian cuneiform, a writing system not expected to be found in South America. 2. The Meister print, discovered in 1968 by William J. Meister, is a fossilized imprint resembling a human shoe or sandal that appears to have crushed a trilobite, a marine arthropod extinct for hundreds of millions of years. The existence of these artifacts raises perplexing questions about their true origins and the accepted narratives of the past.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the questions it raises, really, is the accepted narrative, right? The truth is simple, right? Like, and this is how we know that their story is wrong, because they have to over-explain everything, use all these big words and equations that they think most of us don't understand, and so we just kind of give in to the experts. But clearly, it's all fake. It's all just a story. Well, I've never seen that one before. That was very interesting. And it looked real. Just looking at all the carvings on it, there was Egyptian stuff, there was Mesopotamian, and it looked pretty good, right? And had working parts. I mean, I don't know, what do you think? Was that real? Was that fake? It looked real, and moving parts, and that crystal light thing, and the ball. I mean, that was crazy. What do you think that was? I mean, it looks like part of an ancient machine, right? Ancient tech. But let me know your thoughts.
In 1948, Frank Kennard testified that in 1912, while working in the municipal electric plant in Thomas, Oklahoma, broke open an unusually large piece of coal only to find an iron pot. An iron pot? Coal is 300 million years old, right? Or was this iron pot created by Tubal-Cain?
Iron pots. All this stuff, right? It just shows us geology is wrong. The whole timeline is wrong. The whole millions and billions of years to form rock and coal seams and all this. It's all fake. It's all to hide the previous advanced civilization, right? And also, so they can get more power, right? More money out of us and tell us that, oil and coal and all these things are limited when they're clearly replenished, they're self-replenishing. So it's all a big scam. It's all his story, guys. But let me know what you think about OOPARTS. Let me know, do you have any other ones? Do you want to do a part two on this? Because that's a pretty interesting topic, and it's not put out there, right? You really do have to sort of look around for these stories. So there you go, another one done. Thanks for spending some time with me. Hope you enjoyed that one. Please, if you enjoy this content, give me a like and subscribe, and definitely leave your comments. Let me know what you think about OOPARTS. What are they? What are they telling us? Do you think they're alien? Because some people do. Or do you think they're from previous civilizations? I'd love to know your thoughts. So stay awesome, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you. How old are you now? Oh, there's something for you to open.
If I was going to guess.
Don't guess. You're going to guess wrong. You're going to guess wrong.
Really?
Yeah. Happy birthday, baby, from all of us. Happy birthday.
What is this?
Put them on. Put them on. The sunglasses. How does it look?
Oh, that's weird.
Look at the balloons. Can you see with our eyes now, baby? What colors you see?
Those.
You see colors now?
Oh, the trees are neat.